right, welcome everybody to another LinkedIn Live on a Tuesday afternoon, because we are, as always, well, not as always, as often, broadcasting from our intergalactic headquarters here in Edinburgh, Scotland. And my name's John Peebles. I'm the CEO here at Administrate, and I'm joined with JJ, who is, what is your technical title these days? Product manager.
Product designer, of course, not manager. One day, maybe.
Is there a senior in there? A senior product designer?
Maybe soon.
Manager?
I'll be up to you, John.
Good. Joined by JJ, and we're pretty pumped about today because we've got a couple of intertwined updates to our platform that we've been thinking a lot about, we've been excited about, and are basically we're here to show you now. And maybe just to set the scene here, if you go to our website, getadministrate.com, note that is not our company name. We are not Get Administrate. The idea is you get Administrate by going to getadministrate.com. But if you were to go there, you would see us talking about a bunch of things that we do, mainly for classroom training, right? Which is we help you plan stuff, we help you template things out, we help you do the scheduling, we save you a lot of time in that process. And all that is great stuff, and it's stuff that we've done for years. It's stuff that our customers love, and it can save tons and tons of time, which can then be invested in a whole bunch of different arenas. But that assumes a perfect world. We don't have a perfect world.
We don't live in one like that, no.
And what today is all about is really what happens when things go wrong, which they inevitably do. You know, a lot of times people start laughing when we talk about this with the customers, and it's like, yeah, by 9:05 a.m. Monday morning, things have gone wrong. Right. And so what JJ is going to do is take us through how we think about this in terms of resolving these challenges, identifying these challenges, and doing so in a way that can scale up to hundreds and thousands of instructors, tens of thousands of students, thousands and thousands of classes that are going on all around the world, which is the environment that our customer base tends to operate in. So, is that good enough preamble there?
I think that is. I think the only sort of extra part to add is that this will focus specifically on that sort of instructor issues that you might arise due conflicting scheduling and all of that. But we did recently have a LinkedIn Live where we went over a lot more of the wider issues that you encounter during training, and we have we've spoken at length about some of those. The features that help support that. But this will be specifically on instructors, but there is a lot there too as well.
That's right. So maybe we'll kick into our demo system here. And JJ has warned me that there's like 2,432 things that could go wrong on this live demo. So
it's live.
What could possibly go wrong? But yeah, take it away.
Great. Okie doke. So here we are, and this is actually what I was referencing in our previous LinkedIn Live, that we were talking about issues and identifying different issues with your events, and that focused a lot around our dashboard, and in particular this widget that we have here. So using this widget, I'm able to see immediately that the first event that I have at the top of my list has something going on with instructors. So I will go through that, as you might do when you log in at the start of your day and you see the issues come in. Let's go resolve them. So I come over to this event and I can see that the issue was there wasn't an instructor on there. So let's go through the process of adding an instructor on there. And we need to think about a few things when doing this. We want to think about who is qualified to be able to teach that event, who is in the right location, and importantly, who's available. So as we go in to add an instructor, what we can immediately see is this modal that will collect together the available instructors, the instructors that are approved for that training who can actually deliver it, and that their location matches the location that the event that you're delivering it in. Because again, we focus largely on that sort of classroom side of things with this, that point in time training. And so I can see here that I've got 3 instructors available. I know that I could quite comfortably select any one of those, and that would be great for my booking. But let's just, for the argument's sake, let's say that they were all unavailable. What might that look like? And well, I might be able to find them if I look for all of my instructors. These are the ones that are not typically ones that would be running this particular event, but in some cases the training, you can be a little bit more flexible with that. So we remind you when you come into a view like this that these aren't the ones that are approved on your course template, which is something that you can configure. And as we go down this list, what we'll see at the very bottom here is Giles actually has a conflict. So this modal is going to order your instructors by how available they are, with the most available people up at the top of your list. And then as you go further down, you'll begin to see people with 1 conflict, maybe they have 2 conflicts, and we're able to see exactly what that conflict is. So Giles is already booked onto a different course in the system. So we don't want to pick Giles because we don't want to actually make a conflict, but we will pick myself, who, if I take off the match instructor location, there I am.
That was so close. I thought that was one of the landmines.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, no,
not at all.
You've got it. It's going well.
So let's add myself onto here. Now I am available. So great. I'm able to take the instruction for this event. However, I actually know that I'm not available. So if I go to my calendar, I can see that on Wednesday, which is when, if I go up to the dates here, May 1st, 10 a.m., if I look at May 1st, 10 a.m., I actually have a doctor's appointment then, so I don't think I'll be much good in class because I need to be elsewhere. But of course, I didn't know that. Whoops, I didn't know that here because that information wasn't in the system. But we have a feature for that, and that is something that you can do. You can hook up your instructor calendars. You can get your instructors to share their calendars with you in our system, and that will pull all of the entries that are in their calendar and then use that so that when you're booking that instructor, you can see if they're available or not.
Because otherwise, if you're doing that, what you just did, otherwise you're going to have to go every single time that you pick an instructor. You're going to have to check their calendar, probably one by one.
Right.
It's going to be very wasteful.
Yep.
It's going to be very cumbersome, time consuming, and maybe they haven't shared their calendar with you because they work in some, far east location or something. So that basically what you're saying is we can automate that and bring that information into the system through this calendar integration.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so when you, as an admin in our system for setting this up, you can come into our sort of calendar setup area, our calendar sync area, and that will pull together all of the instructors in your system and will give you a clear status of whether or not they already have their calendar connected. And let's again just go for me right now, and we send an email, and that will send an email off to me that will only take a moment or two, which will include a quick link that I can click on that will then go through a very standard OAuth secure process for then connecting specifically my Outlook calendar into the system and attach that to my record in the system. So you'll also be able to see, as you can see here in this sort of last sync column, that there's confirmation that that invite was sent and that they should be able to see it. And so if you didn't receive a response from them, you would be able to come back into this list and go, oh, well, we did send them an invite last week, but they haven't responded to it yet, so maybe we need to send them another one or give them a little nudge to go ahead and do that. And so as you can see, I've already got that email into my inbox in there, so I'll just hit the sync calendar button, and then we come onto this screen. Now, the first thing to notice here is that this is obviously very much branded Administrate, because that's our Administrate TMS system that we're using there. But of course, if this was your own instance, all of your own logos and branding and everything else would be there, so it would very much seem like it is coming from you that this invite is. And before I click onto this Connect with Microsoft button, there's a few things, explanations as to what might happen, because sometimes there could be a little bit of concern sharing your calendar with a company in terms of what sort of data would they then have access to. And well, as the instructor, the first choice that you can have, or at least know, is that privacy on your calendar is respected. So if I have a private meeting on my calendar, that will only ever get pulled in as busy. You won't see any details in the system about that. So if the instructors were worried about that, they don't need to be. It's all protected there. More so probably for the internal instructors that you have on deck is probably more something that you would have that sort of setting where you can see what their calendar is. You can see that they're on different things, and maybe some of the private things are still respected. But you can also blank it out completely. You can make it completely private so that you never see any of the information. You just know when they're available and when they're not.
So I think it was a year or so ago, when our CFO called me up and said, "Are you really building Lego Friday afternoon?" Because I'd put that in my calendar.
Oh, right. Okay.
That wouldn't happen if we had this
that
privacy
wouldn't happen.
setting.
If you had that
right.
marked as private, you would never know.
I would really be building Lego,
You
but
could still be building
nobody
Lego.
would know about
No
it. They
one
just
would
think
know.
I was unavailable.
Absolutely,
okay.
exactly
Good,
that.
Good to know.
So let's kick that off then. Let's connect with Microsoft. And I select, the Microsoft account that I'm signed in with to be able to hit that. And there it is. It's done. It's already done. That was before I'd even finished repeating that sentence. It was there. So if I go back to this page now, I should be able to see that if I go for my name here, I am connected. And that tells me that it was connected right this minute, and everything was from my calendar synced into the system, and I'll be able to see that when I go to the next screen here.
Sorry, I was trying to show the green check mark.
Oh, right.
You'd have to duck. There we go.
Connected.
We've got so much tech here, we don't know what to do. Great.
And so I can verify that. If I go to this availability calendar here, I can see I've got this little icon that's next to my name now in the system that says, yep, your calendar's synced, that's great. And I'm able to see here that the open meeting that I didn't have marked as private, which is this very LinkedIn Live right now, I can see that in the system. And I can see tomorrow that we all know was the doctor's appointment, but of course that was private. That's just come into the system as busy. And so that is protected, and I don't get to see any more information about that. So, go on, John.
Now, one of the questions we get from time to time is that is a great model for instructors that are outsourced, right? Because they will be working for multiple companies. Potentially, they will not want to share doctor's appointments and kid soccer games and things like that. But we often get the feedback from customers that employ all of their instructors that they do want to see that detail. And so that's why you've kind of got both options.
Yeah.
And you can also bound these things by things like working days and holidays that you load in at a company level.
Right.
So, it really just depends on kind of what mechanism you use to engage with your instructors.
That's right. And so now that we've got that calendar connected, remember we had on this refresher training, we had added JJ as the instructor who was originally available because we didn't know any better. But now that we have the calendar connected and we could see that there was that busy appointment, this event is now showing again that there's an issue. And if I go down to the table, I can see, oh, well, actually, JJ here has an issue that's come from his calendar and it's unknown. We don't know what it is because that was the private one. And we can see that he can't actually take this event, which is super helpful for, because these things change after the fact. It's like what we were saying before, as soon as you start your day, someone's moved an appointment somewhere or booked a different meeting in or whatever it might be, and suddenly the things that you thought were okay are now got issues and there's conflicts that you need to resolve.
Yeah, and that was fast, right? I'm going to use a term that engineers hate, but it was effectively real time, right? That's one of the biggest dangers that we see in these large training operations is this stuff is happening. People are updating their calendar. They're making appointments. They're living their lives. They've got a lot of instructors, even if they're wholly employed by a training or by the company that they're doing training for, will be subject matter experts, and they will have other kind of day jobs that they are doing. So the speed of this is really important, and that was with almost instantly.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. So if I look back at my calendar here, I can see that this event has come in, and the events, if I were added onto that event, that happens immediately. It will show up into my calendar. The call gets fired away immediately, and it comes onto the calendar. And for the calendar coming back into the system, that's a very regular sync that happens every hour for any sort of catching updates. But of course, if you have suspicions, or you think, oh, I just want to make absolutely double sure that everything is there, you can, of course, just force a sync to happen right then and there for all of your instructors, and that's grand. You can then have the confidence to know that you've got the most up-to-date availability information for your instructors.
And so this prevents the reverse problem from happening, which is I'm going to go book a doctor's appointment or a kid's soccer game or whatever. If the training team has scheduled me on to an event, it will pop up right away, and I won't have that conflict, or at least I know that I've got a problem.
Absolutely. And so then we come to so how do we resolve this issue? Now, there's a couple of ways that you could go about that. I mean, what I could do is I could go in, I could maybe I couldn't give JJ a call, but let's pretend that's someone else actually. But I could call them and I would be like, what's going on? Is there something that we could move in this appointment? Can we make some space for it? We could do the usual conversation that we're very used to at this point for sort of trying to manage the availability and sort of working out the scheduling times. I could remove this instructor. I could remove JJ from this event and select an actually available one that I have in the system. But of course, I might not have been on this event looking at it. I might have been back on the dashboard or away doing some other task, and I come back and I didn't really know what had happened. And so this dashboard, again, would show you that there was an issue, and then you would go back to the event and try and do it. But I think there's a better way, and that would be with our new widget that we are very close to releasing. I think this will be coming to everyone next week. And this one here will show me all of the instructor conflicts collected together. So if we think about these two widgets here, we've got the top widget that's looking at all of the events in the next 30 days, and it's just highlighting all of the issues, or if there are no issues, it's just showing you the next events in the next 30 days. But then this one specifically, if I dodge a little bit out the way there, you can see that it's highlighting the instructor issues, and you can see my name, JJ, is up there, and you can see that refresher training that's been highlighted. And so this is pulling those issues together so that you're always in the know about when those things happen, because they don't always happen because of your action. It could be someone on your team or the instructor on their calendar or someone else booking them. So let's resolve it, right? Let's go in and try and fix the refresher training conflict that we have. And there's two ways that we could go about that. The first is that we could take Administrate's suggested replacement. And this is suggesting to me an instructor that is available, can do it in that location, and is approved for that course. So if those three parameters is all you need for being able to go, yeah, let's put Fonz on there, they can do it, they're available, they're in the right place, and they're approved for this training, I can immediately just go ahead and hit the replace button. They are replaced on that. You'll have seen that the event that was up in this event widget has now disappeared because it's no longer an issue. We just fixed it right then and there. And if I were to then go to that event, I can then verify that there's no issues anymore on that event. We just fixed it. And I can see that Fonz is now on it and JJ is not anymore, and there's no conflicts there. And so you can see how helpful that is for being able to just go through the issues, go, yeah, good, replace that one, replace that one. If you're not happy with the suggested replacement, of course, if I look at John Jones here, I could just hit that edit button and we see this familiar modal that we just saw in the event again that lets me choose any of the ones by my pick on who is available, who is approved, and who can do it in that location. So I can make my own choice. That's perfectly fine. And I can go in and I can give Fonz a lot more work and put them on there and resolve those issues. Now they're all fixed, and I've got nothing to worry about.
Okay, so what we just saw was we have a typical day that starts. We've got everything lined up in terms of I have my instructors and my classes scheduled and so forth, but something happens.
Yes.
Because your calendar is synced with Administrate, the minute that something happens, whether it's a new appointment that's being made or, something over the weekend or whatever, that gets synced back to Administrate.
Yep.
Then that immediately flags a issue, which then bubbles up to the dashboard, which anybody can see if they log in with the right permissions. And I think we covered this a couple weeks ago, but there's ways to kind of say, I just want to see the ones that I'm managing and so forth. So if you've got a big team, there's ways to whittle that down. But it identifies you, and then it gives you basically a one-click resolution step, if possible.
Yes.
And so in the space of time that, this could have happened within a minute or two, you could have the whole thing resolved and life continues on. And even if you've got 10 or 20 of them that you need to deal with at the beginning of the day or after your lunch break or whatever, you can just bash down them and take the suggested resolution.
Well, that's it. I mean, I know that was probably quite quick going through all of that, but that's because it is quite quick. Once you have all of that information available to you, then it can be a fairly straightforward operation that you're going through. And like I say, if you're happy with those suggestions, you can just review that list and go, yep, good, and all of the problems are fixed. And you don't have to then look at that event, go, okay, where is that again? Okay, let's look at the instructor's calendar. I've got like 7 different instructors that could do it, so let's see which one's available. And it just takes so much more time. You can, of course, still do that if you have other criteria or parameters that you want to use. But for this case, you can just go through that list and get it all resolved very quickly.
So a couple of questions we normally get right about now are, okay, what calendars does it work with? Right now, today, it is Outlook.
That's right.
Only, right? Google coming at some point in the future. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, will our security team be okay with this, or how does that work? So very quickly, we are SOC 2 certified, ISO 27001 certified, which is 2 of the highest forms of security. And because we are using the Microsoft approved authentication workflow, which is that OAuth step that you saw, that means that each account is being individually authorized. The instructors do it themselves. You don't have to worry about passwords or sharing or anything like that. And our feedback has been all IT departments so far have been great with this. It works just like it would with any other integration into a Microsoft product, many of which we use, like Zoom and so forth.
That's right.
So that's another question. I guess another question that I tend to hear about from time to time is, this mechanism of bringing the data in and having the computer suggest things and so forth, how good is it? And I guess the question is, this is the reason why we emphasize setting up things into course templates, because the computer and the platform can then know who is approved. And believe it or not, in implementation, just getting lists of approved instructors for things is actually one of the more challenging aspects, because a lot of the times this stuff has been shoved in a drawer or put on an Excel spreadsheet or whatnot. And so by getting this out of people's heads and putting it into a system, it's a very freeing moment, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other thing that often gets asked at the same sort of time is, okay, well, that's instructors, but what about my meeting rooms? What about my simulators that we spoke about last time when we were looking at that? And that's the very next sort of piece of work that we're looking at with this project that we're working on here, and that is being able to have the calendars for what we call in our system resources, but is the rooms, the equipment, the things that you need in order to run that event, that obviously they often have calendars themselves as to when they can be booked out. And that is something that we're looking to also add into the system. And you can deal with it in the same way that we just saw here with instructors. Find me the most available one. What location is it in? Is there any issues with it? Let's resolve them. And it's all real quick.
Yeah, and the way that customers used to deal with this before we've released these changes is, well, you'd have to generate a report, it'd have to be scheduled, it'd have to run in the morning or so forth, and that was still a huge leg up from spreadsheets, but this is kind of a next generation thing, and it feeds other things that we'll talk about in kind of future sessions, things around scheduling en masse, automating some of that scheduling task and so forth. So we're really excited. This calendar instructor integration is the sync between the two systems is really, really powerful, really, really important, and it opens the door to a lot of this type of thing that we've been working and thinking on for quite a long time.
Yeah, great.
What have we missed? Anything? Everything went right.
It went right. That was a smooth demo, I think.
Good. We're getting good at this.
Good.
Okay, so we blitzed through that, but if you're out there and you're kind of like, I've got 1,000,001 questions, that's fine. Connect with us on LinkedIn. JJ famously is not on LinkedIn, but that's okay. You can connect with myself or anybody else within the organization. Send us an email. Get in touch with us by phone. Whatever it is that whatever mechanism you want to use. Oh, that is one. Sorry, before we sign up, that is one other question that I wanted to ask, which is, when you make that change, what happens? How do people get told? Or as we say in Scotland, telt. How do people get telt?
How to get telt. So what will happen is that, one, the change you will be able to see on the event and in the audit for the event, you'll be able to see that change has happened. Two, you can have an automatic trigger, a communication trigger that we again spoke about on a previous live about that system of being able to send out automated communications to various people that you choose. You can send out a communication to when the instructor is added onto the event, so they can receive also, not only will it appear in their calendar, but they'll also get the email through that goes, hey, you've got another course, here's the material that you need, here's where you need to go, whatever you do for setting that up. And then there'll also be a notification email that will get sent to the instructor that has been removed, just to let them know you've been removed. It will already, by the way, if they had their calendar synced, it will already have been disappeared from their calendar. But they will also then just get that quick notification email that'll come through and go, yep, you're gone off that, just confirmation.
And so that'll save at least a couple of manual emails, maybe even a phone call or two. And the more people trust the system, the more they'll use the system, and the better everything gets.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we're wrapping up.
Now we're done.
And, we do these almost every Tuesday. We are not going to be doing a live event next Tuesday for some logistical travel reasons, but we will be back in action in 2 weeks' time. We've got maybe we teased this previously, but we're hoping to get a customer of ours come on, talk through a bunch of these various things that we've been talking about and some other cool stuff. So check out, follow us on LinkedIn and stay tuned for updates, and get in touch if you want to hear more or get an in-depth demo, and because it's a big platform and we'd love to show it to you. So Administrate, we're here to satisfy and help you manage the challenge of classroom training, particularly at scale. Multinational customers use us all over the world. And we will be back in action in 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely.
So, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, folks.